Okay, greetings and welcome. So, today's video is going to be about centers of gravity of the body and where you center your energy to create different effects. So we have the three dantians. Dantian basically means an energy field or an essence of a field. And when we're in a physical body, there's a center of gravity of that field. So we have the center of gravity of the physical form, we have the center of gravity of the astral form, we have the center of gravity of the mental form, and these all vibrate on fields. The physical vital field, the astral, and the mental fields. Now when we're working with physical effects, like Fajin, bouncing people, we're referencing everything to a physical center of gravity and the facial web which conducts chi. So it's all about developing the looseness and connectivity through the facial web, centering in the physical center of gravity, and getting our energy to move either in A to B wave effect. This will loosen the body and increase the connectivity, and then move the energy in a field effect. Now, when you're moving energy in a field effect, it's making a difference in your energy feeling, your field of consciousness. All right, so we went through the basics of focusing your willpower on the breath on lengthening and stretching all the muscles open, stretching the joints open, and then concentrating outside your body. If you concentrate inside your body sensory system captures the awareness. We want to concentrate outside our body so that our spirit senses become active, our astral senses become active, and we can feel energy more efficiently. Now, as we're breathing in and out, focusing our will, concentrating outside the body, and we start getting a magnetic fluidic feeling, we put that into whole body pore breathing. We take that quality, we imagine our whole body is an empty vessel, we breathe in through the pores in that empty space, and we breathe out through that empty space. Now, the reason why we imagine it being an empty space, we don't want the energy and our attention to adhere to the physical yet. If our mind sticks to the physical, then our awareness will move from a sensitivity to energy to sensitivity to the physical form. We don't want that. We want that to come later. Okay, so you get the whole body pore breathing. You're breathing an empty vessel in and out, and you get to flow in through the pores, out through the pores. From there, we moved on to condensing energy in the body's balloon. You breathe into the balloon, and then you condense and bring it into the facial web. So we build a bridge from the feeling of the energy, fill the balloon up. As you breathe out, we press all the joints open, we pressurize the fascia. We're bridging the feeling of this fluid into the facial web as we breathe out. Then we loosen off a bit, fill the balloon, stretch everything open, condense. As we condense, open the joints, the fascia needs to be the physical bridge conductor to the energy. Now you do this for a few minutes. Depending on how much willpower you put into it, is how much compression you're going to get into the body and how much compression you're going to get through the facial web. You build this bridge. Now, once you've got your body compressed, then you put your attention on your physical center of gravity. So you breathe in and fill the body like a balloon, and as you breathe out, you condense and compress the dantian, the lower dantian. But you're using the facial web to do so. You feel the center of gravity of the body. And then you do that for a few minutes. Now, I say a few minutes because when you get used to this, you put a few breaths in and whoop, your body's going to be really full really quick, and you don't want to do it for more than 10, 20 seconds because you become compressed. You take this much time, you increase your will into that much time, you get the same energy in a very short amount of time. Okay, so we've gone from breathing outside the body to get sensitivity. We take that sensitivity in and out of an empty vessel of the body to start bridging through the space of the body. Then we bridge to the facial web. We stretch everything open. We breathe into the facial web and compress into the facial web of the body. And then we breathe into the center of gravity of the body through that facial web and feel the center of the body. So this is the starting point. Now, you can't leave this energy in your physical body, in your center of gravity, because you're just going to overheat, overload, get very emotional, get really intense. So you need a storage method. And most systems use Wu-Ji. They do Akasha meditation on the center of gravity of things to not only learn how to control the center of things, but to store energy. So you feel the center of gravity of your body, and you do the Wu-Ji Akasha training exercises that are on my Vimeo course and that you may have learned with me in the retreat. They're too extensive and too deep to cover on YouTube. Now, once you have the Akashic trance, you breathe in, release time, breathe out, release space. Akasha appears as a dark violet color, so you associate the dark violet color with the feeling of infinity. And then you go to the center of gravity, the infinity of your physical body. You take all this energy and then you relax it into your center. You sum, relax and sink inwards, and you pull it all into the Wu-Ji of your physical center. And that's why so many systems will have concentrated in navel, they call it Wu-Ji meditation. It leaves all the critical parts out, but the general idea is on the right track. Now, once you pull that energy into your center of gravity through Akashic trance, you need to seal it. So you place your right hand on the belly, left hand on top, touch the thumbs, and then you have a mental idea of pressurizing that energy in and condensing it into the Akasha underlying your physical form. Now, that energy is most probably going to leak. It's going to want to start to come back out unless you've really learned how to seal energy really well. And when the energy does come back out, it'll come back out through your weakest points, which will be your emotions. And if you're very focused on doing something, it'll give you more energy in that focus of doing something. So whatever pathways it can ventilate, it may start doing that and generate side effects. Now, when you want to release the energy, you generate a ritual for doing that. You may have a ritual where you bring your awareness into your physical center of gravity and you drop your center of gravity, open the door, and put that energy out in a similar sort of way that you'll produce jinn when you're doing Fajin. And you'll notice that most Qigong masters and Tai Chi masters that do Qigong, when they do their Fajin, they're going to drop their belly a little bit. And most of the Fajin stuff you see on the internet is actually comes from Qigong. So it doesn't come from Tai Chi. So you'll see this belly movement where the belly drops and stretches, and that connects the facial web from the extremities to the core, and they release energy out of their core. The biggest problem with working with energy storage is it leaks a lot. You'll get a lot of emotional red face gung, guang type of scenarios. If you look at a lot of the Taoist saints and you read about their history and their profile, they're guilty of mass genocide. They were psychotics, and they store energy in their body and they go crazy. So there's this problem with storing energy inside the body, but you get a feeling of power. You're able to do Fajin. You're able to fulfill your goals at the risk of going crazy. So, putting large amounts of body in the energy, large amounts of energy in the body without absorbing it into the Akasha has a high risk. So I don't ever suggest condensing energy inside the body to a point of discomfort, because you'd only do that before a training session, and then when you train, you use and burn up that energy. And you have to have worked out how to store energy. Now, some people will carry an amulet, and every session they'll just pick the amulet up, put it in their hand, and put the energy into the amulet. That works fine. But when the amulet's on you, your body will be heating right up around the amulet. I found with amulets that there's no way in the world I could sleep with them on. I had to put them at least a meter away from my body just to get to sleep, because It would keep your brainwave activity in that awake state. You'd be energized, sweating, too much energy would be passing through your system. So you really need to look at storage methods. Okay, so this covers your lower center of gravity. Now, to move to the middle center of gravity, we need to release time. And this is where the storage starts to get interesting. Taoism and various systems are called tuning the breath. They'll tune their mind to the feeling of the vital energy they've been working with. Then they slow the mind down, slow the feeling down. And because they're identifying, I am the energy, they slow the energy down. Very, very, very long, slow in-breath. At the end of the breath, there's a pause. And in the pause, they enter equanimity. They tune the mind to the level just below the level that they're at. They make everything stand still. They release time. And as they breathe out, there's a very long, slow slowing down of the energy. The jinn just slows right down. And then you get to the other end of the breath, you pause, you recalibrate the stillness, release time, breathe timelessness in, breathe timelessness out, breathe timelessness in. You repeat this 4-cycle breath. You find you get to a place where the energy becomes really slow, really thick, and really heavy. And then, okay, that's astral fluid. Vital fluid is quick and fast and in the now. Astral fluid is really, really thick. And it's released of time in a normal context. You put your mind into it and you're sort of slightly displaced from the physical world. And that's why Tai Chi forms look the way they do, where they're a little bit released of time, sort of like there's a time lag and there's a slowness inside the movement. It's not that you're trying to be slow. It's not you're trying to relax. When you're in the feeling of the astral fluid, your body relaxes and you go slow because your mind is moving that energy, what they call qi, and that qi is moving the body. And there's a time lag inside that because one is working on a slower time continuum in your physical body. Now, as you cultivate this energy, if you want this energy to reflect through the astral, through your personality, from the heart, and have this type of reflection, this will be the center of gravity of that energy. It'll be higher than the physical body. But if you sink that energy down to the physical and reticulate that energy between the astral and physical, then that energy becomes more of a physical battery for jinn to express itself. So this is where our body goes from mind moves chi, chi moves body. Our mind moves someone else's chi, and that person's chi moves their body. So you connect to a person's astral field, and then you move them through their astral field, and their body moves. And when a person's got the 4-ounce bridge, and their energy is nice and soft, you can see this happening. They're moving through that astral field of consciousness. To do this, and get it connecting to the physical, you reticulate between the astral feeling and the physical feeling. And you do that through motion. You move to get the energy to manifest in the physical. So these two levels start fusing together. And as your mind, your yi, upper dantian, is awareness, is regulating, controlling that process, they call it fusion of the 3 dantians. And fusion of the 3 minds, the physical mind, the astral mind, and the spiritual mind. And these 3 fuse together, and as they fuse together, that's when you can perform alchemy. Alchemy is transforming energy between one state and another. So you've got astral energy and the physical vital energy reticulating. You have an alchemical process taking place. Now, when you apply this to Qigong, you're going to be taking energy down to your physical center and storing it there because that's where you want it to come out. That's where you want the expression to be. If you were a public speaker and a teacher and a writer or a musician, you'd be doing it from here. You'd want to be doing everything from the heart because that's where you want people to feel it. You want to influence people's feeling when you play a musical instrument. It's all about feel. You feel music. You don't listen to it. You feel it. And so anything where you're conducting feeling is from the heart. So it would be a higher center of gravity. So Buddhism do everything from the heart because they're working within taking awareness up into higher frequencies of mental states through feeling, and then expressing those states back in through compassion and love and so forth, and goodwill in the physical world. So they express themselves to the world through the heart, and they use the heart as a vehicle for ascension. So as you train in this 3 Dantian model, you'll recognize each of the Dantians expresses a very different role. So when you're condensing energy in the physical, it's going to want to come out as a physical kinetic energy, very useful for sport, martial arts, and so forth. When you're storing energy in the astral field, the astral center, it's going to want to come out through feeling. And then if you want to take that feeling and reticulate it with the physical, get more physical effects, then you blend the two together. And because the mind is really the upper dantian, we have a fusion of the three centers. Now the upper center, the spirit, is in the pineal gland, the center of the head. Now the upper center is released of space. So to move energy from the astral up into the mental, you're looking at how do you release space. So rather than transforming and reticulating energy up straight away, which you could, the better way of doing it is simply being aware of consciousness itself and relaxing and feathering off the edges, and feather off to the horizon. So when you look at around outside the windows, I can see the horizon, and I just relax and spread my mind out to the horizon as far as I can, just let it go, and just dissolve any boundary that is restricting your mind. From there, once you've achieved that as a mental exercise, then as you're astral breathing, you take the feeling of the astral energy and you stretch it out to the horizon. You let the waves move out as far as you can see. You could just fill a space, let's say fill this room. I put my mind onto the walls, onto the roof, onto the floor, fill the space, and then I breathe into that space. Then that astral fluid will start filling that space. And that's a mental training exercise, but that is still containing my mind within a limited space. So it's just a bigger astral space. When you extend energy to the horizon, you're losing a huge amount of energy, but it's a resonance trick. You bring yourself into resonance with energy of the environment, you're just relaxing and waving it out. So you're reticulating energy that's already there. It's not actually your chi, it's the environmental chi, but you're coming into resonance with it, feeling the energy in the trees around you, and then the toroidal field of the trees, you expand them, you expand the space, and you feather off the edges all the time, making your mental space bigger and bigger. Recognizing the center of gravity of the expansion is the upper dantian, the third eye, the pineal gland, consciousness in the center of the head. And when you just look at your own mind and go, okay, I've got this sensory system, where's the center of it? It's in the middle of your head. So consciousness grounds itself in the center of the brain, in the pineal gland. That's the middle of the action. It's anyone who closes their eyes and just looks inwards, okay, where's my center? It's in your head. So consciousness isn't centered in the dantian or the heart. So consciousness wants to sit in the center of the organ of the brain. Okay, so by feathering off these edges and getting the mind to expand, again, we're training the spirit senses. If you do anything inside the body, mentally, astrally, or physically, your physical sensory system will control the experience. As we extend energy of life force outside the body, we feel. As we move astral energy outside the body, we feel more energy. As we expand the mental edges and we dissolve them outwards, our spirit senses become more aware. So Qigong needs to have a high amount of out-of-body training in order to work with energy in the body correctly. Because, as I said before, if your mind is in the body will own your mind. If your mind is outside the body, it will be free to develop itself. So very, very straightforward, obvious thing. All right, so we have these 3 dantians: center of gravity of consciousness, center of gravity of your astral feelings, and center of gravity of your physical form, where you condense the energies. If you want to take all this astral energy and spiritual awareness from expanding out to the horizon and put it into power. You bring it down into, take the astral breathing, do belly breathing in the lower dantian, and slow the energy down, condensing the energy in the lower dantian, and then spreading it out to the room, spreading out to your garden, and just spreading that energy out to the horizon. Now, as you start doing this, you're feathering. You put the energy out this far, 100%. You double that distance, you feather that off. You have the same amount of energy in double the space. Then you feather it off. You keep doubling the space and halving the density. And you still take this much energy and put it in that much space, but it's softer and lighter and not as dense. Now, based on the law of resonance, if you're in a forest area, you can gather the energy of what you feel from the trees and the forest in the early morning as you practice these sorts of exercises and affect those energy currents of nature and play with them. The more available energy there is in the place that you train, the better it's going to be. So if you're in a forest and you're breathing into you've done the tree qigong exercise, for instance, and you breathe into every tree and you get a relationship with the energy field of every tree, you walk into the forest, all those trees are singing you a song, they're in resonance with you. And then you expand through the forest. It's very easy to get that expanded state. And then you go out onto the horizon and you move the energy as a large toroidal field and keep feathering it off. Your spirit senses get very sensitive. You develop power. You're getting stronger and stronger with your will and spatial awareness and energy awareness. And you have fun playing with the energy playfully. It's not a serious, okay, sink the chi, spread, and get the mind out. You don't want to be serious about this stuff. People who are playful about it, having fun with it, do it all day. And because you're like a kid playing a video game, and you can go morning to night and nothing gets in the way, you just keep training, you get success. But your body only has so much willpower. You have limited will, but you have unlimited passion. You can have fun doing stuff forever. And this way of training that you have fun with what you're doing is the key to success. I wouldn't be able to have done this for over 30 years if I wasn't having fun. For me, it's really, really enjoyable. If I'm busy working, doing something intense, it's like, oh man, I want to have a qigong break. And play with the energy. And that's my break, that's my fun, that's my entertainment time, that's enjoyment in life. And that psychology needs to be in place if you want to do this as a lifestyle and you want to develop these internal skills. It has to be your escape, man, I can't wait to go and train qigong later today when I have some quiet space and you can do the exercise, do the alchemy. Now, obviously, during the day, you can be vital breathing and abdominal breathing. But if you work in a printing factory and there's chemicals around you, it's going to be, ugh. No, you don't want to pull any of that into your energy field. So depending what job you do in life and how toxic the environment you're in is whether you can train throughout the day while you're doing your work. If you're fortunate enough to be working outdoors and having a lifestyle in which it's permissible, and you can split your consciousness into abdominal breathing, whole body pore breathing while you're doing other things. Walking is excellent. I like to go do 5 to 10K walks. And while I'm walking, I just whole body pore breathe. I float my body, root myself in the chi, and walk. And when I'm on holiday, I can walk 5-6 hours and just floating myself in energy. It feels wonderful. And the more you're grounded in the energy and floating in the energy, the less pressure there's on your body. You don't feel it on your joints. You don't feel heavy and fatigued. You just have to float yourself in the chi. So floating yourself in the chi is a whole different level of training, because your awareness and your body is grounding itself within the feeling of energy, and energy is light. It's buoyant. It's a field. And when you're fully grounded in that field, you're able to control other people's energy at an equal resonant level to the way you're able to float yourself. So if you put yourself into a feeling of energy and you're nice and light in there, you touch someone else, they're going to feel nice and light when you put that energy through them, when you pull them onto that field. And because you're the alpha in that field, you can control the energy and control them. They don't understand what's happening, so they have no control. So you can get an empty force Qigong effect. Now, this is one of the most efficient ways to train Qigong if you're doing any type of martial art, because it allows you very high speed footwork, allows you to be light, agile, changeable. There's none of the ground path nonsense, where you're sinking the chi into the legs and your legs are really heavy and you're, okay. That Tai Chi model, it's not very good for martial arts. It's I'm not a big believer in it because the mind becomes very limited. It becomes very, very stagnant, and it's all happening inside your body. You need to cultivate high frequencies outside your body. Your feeling of relaxing and sinking your physical body down to the ground and compressing your joints and wrecking your knees and wrecking your hips, wrecking your lower back, compressing your spine. Why would anyone want to do that to themselves? You look at any of the people that are long-term Master Wang Shixian lineage training people, they all got bad joints, bad backs, bad knees. So if you sink and compress your body, things are going to break. But if you float all the joints inside of the feeling of the chi and you're working with that, you feel much better. It's a much healthier route. And I found out the hard way. I totally wrecked my body practicing the Wang lineage, sinking the chi model. I believed what I was told, big mistake, and I did the sinking, and I suffered for it for years. It's not a good idea. And I always used the excuse of, oh no, my body's just, got scoliosis, got some arthritis. It's my body. No, it wasn't my body. It was I was training an art that was destroying my body. And then when you look at other masters that do the Wang lineage, a lot of them have exactly the same problems. They have bad backs, they have bad knees, their hips are wrecked. So okay, I need to look at this and change something. So the Dantian model, where you ground yourself in the feeling of the energy, you float all the joints inside the chi, and you make yourself light when you're walking, that's your training. You just go for a walk. And if you go to a beautiful environment, it's a really efficient way of training. Now, you don't need to stand, you don't need to do all these exercises. You can choose how you're going to, what your activity is. For me, walking and cycling. I love those two activities, and I just ground myself in the feeling of energy, and I train. If you like standing practice, keep micro movements inside the practice. Don't stagnate. Don't try and be still in your body. Just let your body flutter on the inside, so the fascia is moving a little bit. Not on a macro level like Tai Chi, but a micro level. It's like the wind blowing the leaves on a tree. The tree's still, but there's always a little bit of movement in the leaves, and there's a little bit of vibratory stretching through the branches, and it's continually in a motion. And chi moves and needs a little bit of change to keep it moving, and that little bit of light change inside your body while you're doing standing practices increases energy conductivity. Those micro movements make the Jin move. All right, so whatever system you're choosing to train in and cultivate the Qi in, it doesn't really matter if you're happy doing it and you can put the hours in, you're going to reap the benefits. The way the mind moves the feeling of the energy, the astral fluid, through the body mechanics, that grounding point can be mental, can be astral, or can be vital. However you ground yourself in the energy of that particular Qigong. So you're fusing the three dantians, mentally, astrally, or physically, should we say vitally. And that's where the energies are going to express itself. So you have this vibrational scale. When you are When you are expressing the energies outwards through fascia or other exercises with a partner, that's when the core battery of energy that you've built is going to give an expression. When you're walking and doing abdominal whole body pore breathing and floating yourself in the life force or astral energy, so like you're just floating yourself like a cork on the ocean as you walk, grounding yourself in the chi. As you do this, you're going to find that you're building a field, but you haven't put information in there. You haven't given it a particular output. So you may, if you're a healer, you may be tuning a radiant healing field inside that energy. If you're a Fa Jin guy, Tai Chi guy, you may be extending the Jin and reticulating, floating people around you and floating underneath the leaves as you walk by and getting underneath everything and creating a toroidal field of grounding out, floating, and doing this type of toroidal field. Or you may be reversing that toroidal field and running it this way to pull yourself, make yourself lighter as you walk. So you'll play all different types of energy games. You'll see a tree 10 meters away while you're walking, you'll start exchanging energy with the tree. Then you catch another tree and start exchanging, and another tree and start exchanging. And you'll find that you'll create your own energy games and you'll play with the energy in a fun way. And that's when you start to take ownership of the chi. You're giving information, ideas, and making the chi move in a way that's fun for you. You're not trying to articulate some old traditional martial art and mimic something. You're alive, you're creating, you're having fun, you're moving energy in a way that is entertaining you and it's playful within the spirit, and you're being a Qigong master. This is how you develop yourself. Qigong masters don't do rigid, stern things. They go for a walk in the park and breathe. It's very, very, very simple. And they may teach Tai Chi and use Tai Chi as a vehicle to train themselves while they're teaching it, but I haven't seen that to be the case. People understand energy, use energy in daily activities and things that they're doing, and have fun with it, and they're playful with how they utilize that energy. So the rigidity of the type of thinking of a traditional model, the idea of the word traditional has a rigidness to stick to tradition, which is in opposition to what Qigong is. Energy work is playfulness in the spirit, working with the feeling of energy and having fun with it, and running up a mountain while you're doing that. Getting to the top of the mountain and having fun, play with the energy. And if you're a farmer, you're using the energy while you're farming. Whatever your outdoor activities, you use the energy through those outdoor activities. And you'll notice I've got an outdoor theme happening here with a lot of my videos. And this is because if you're indoors, you don't have natural resonance with energy resources. There's not vital energy around you everywhere in a concrete box. The energy's dead. You're outside in the forest and the trees, the energy's alive. So obviously, if you're working with energy, you want to be outside in the forest. You're not going to achieve great things. No one achieves Nibbana inside of a temple. They don't achieve Nibbana inside of a concrete building. They achieve Nibbana in the forest, in the mountains, and in nature. And that's where you train Qigong. You go out to where there's energy to train energy. Kind of obvious. Okay, this video is getting a bit long, but thank you for your time. And any questions about any of this stuff, just drop me an email and I'll reply via video, either to YouTube or to the Vimeo channel. Okay, thank you for your time. Bye-bye.